Good afternoon. Just come back from work. It is Sunday. What date is it? Oh, it doesn't say it on here. I didn't put it on there. I think it's the 4th of May. And I thought I'll show you what's growing in my south facing garden. It's looking good. And the only reason I'm showing you is because I'm so happy with how well something is growing. But anyway, let's get on and do that now. We are going to start right here by the door because my snapdragons are doing absolutely fantastic. I love snapdragons. It's interesting that I actually decided I'm not going to grow any tomatoes close to the house, which is something I used to do all the time, but I think these snapdragons will grow tall. Probably what I'll do is I'll turn the reservoir around the next time it's empty in order that the taller white flowers can actually go onto this side of the wall rather than by the door because they're constantly being knocked. And then next to it we have gladioli coming up in this pot, which is currently still empty because the blueberries died, but these are gladioli or whatever else I planted in there, and it's coming up. I decided that this whole section would be just flowers. So these are also flowers. I think they're the gladioli coming up. And then I've actually got some more snapdragons in this section here. I love these ones, but sadly they didn't survive as well as the other ones did. So I'm trying to find this color in order that I can propagate some in here so that I get more of that because I love that color. This color is all right, but I'm not as fussed with it. It's not as nice. Over here, this bed is waiting for this year. I normally have tomatoes in here, but I'm thinking of having just my peppers in here, so I can have 2 peppers in there and another 2 peppers in there. These are self-watering systems which are sat on reservoirs that are probably at around 80 liters if not more of water. So all I do is I fill this reservoir with water, I feed through here, and the plants do well in there. In the meantime, whilst I wait to do that, I always, as usual, put some leftover garlic. This is all leftover garlic, which I actually find starting to germinate when it's left out, because everyone uses the large bulbs of garlic, and then as it runs out, they start leaving the smaller ones. So I end up putting them in here. This one, the one that's closest to my in-bed composting bin, it seems to be doing better than the others. So what I really want to do in the future is to have bins like that regularly filled up in all the beds in order that they get naturally fed. In this bed here, we have some nasturtiums. I had some nasturtiums in here last year, and some of them are actually starting to come up by themselves, which is fantastic. We move on, and once again we've got garlic all the way around the edge, and if it doesn't grow too big, I'll leave it in for another year to see what it does. I think this is a beetroot, so I may have put a beetroot seed in there because there's beetroots coming up. And then in my little planter, which I got from Lidl, we're doing absolutely fantastic. Look at these carrots, and they're fantastic. They're doing really well. Other than the little hole we have there, everything else is growing really well. My spring onions are starting to put on a lot more body than they had before, and they're doing fine. And the beetroots are doing fantastic as well. So this has actually worked out to be a really small but cool little planter, which is working well. And next to it, I've got a large pot with a mulberry in it. All these have been refreshed, so I think this is a weed, so it comes up. All these have been refreshed, and they're doing fantastic in terms of growing. I've been trying to grow the red giant mustard leaf for ages, and every time I try and grow it, either it gets eaten or it doesn't grow. But I'm hoping that as it keeps self-seeding in my garden, I'll end up with something. So this is what's happening here. Up there, other than a few garlic, a few garlic is more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, at least 14 garlics. we have this cabbage which decided to actually grow, and unfortunately I saw some cabbage whites all over the place, so I had to close it off. It looks like it's cramped, but I'm hoping that it will do okay like that. Something I forgot to show you in here is I had a leftover shallot from my last year, and I put it in here hoping that it will not end up flowering, but if it does, that's not a problem. So this bed is going to be for, I think what I will do is I'll do peppers in these two. No, actually peppers don't need that much space. I'll do the peppers in these two, which are sitting on one reservoir, and then in here I've got some aubergines that can actually go in there, so I'll do aubergines in these two. I need to start planning exactly where everything is going. Over here in my messy corner, which I'm hoping will disappear once my plans for the allotment are complete, is seedlings. So on Tuesday my plan is to put in all my brassicas before the cabbage whites find them, and these look like they need a bit more water. I watered them yesterday, but some of them did not get any water, so I need to hide these. I've got tender stem broccoli, I've got some pixie cabbage, and I've got some cauliflower. I've also got this looks like a mustard leaf, which is growing really well hidden amongst the sweet peas. So I need to get those to the allotment and put them where they're supposed to go. Up top I've got some more, hold on, pixie cabbage, cauliflower, and some red sunflowers. I don't want to put it down, which is why I'm actually starting angling you so that you can actually have a look at what's there, even if I cannot see it as we speak. But that is what is growing there. So those were planted, and when I potted them up, I left them up outside, and they've actually done absolutely fine against this wall. They haven't needed any extra heat since the March when I put them out. So I'm pleased to say that they survived, and it helps me because I know what I can put out once it's potted on. Over here we have sweet peas, which I really need to get into their final position before they give up the ghost. I've got some leeks, which are just here, and alderman peas never did a thing. I've taken out, and I've got a lot of cauliflower, which also needs planting out. And I've taken out one of my tomatoes and sat it outside to see how it will cope with the cold weather, because I think in another week or so I'm going to be putting them to bed wherever their permanent homes are going to be. I've just been to Dobie's and I got a sun gold for my sister, and then I thought, actually I want a sun gold because I loved sun gold tomatoes. So what I'm going to do with this sun gold is I'm actually going to take off the shoots and create new plants from it. I also got a tumbling tom because I've never had a tumbling tom, and I'm thinking of buying a hanging basket which I'll put up there so I can have a tumbling tom in there, or I might put it in one of my Greenstalks. Either way, we're having a tumbling tom, and in the meantime I'm going to let it grow so it can produce branches which I can then put elsewhere. Oh yeah, I've got some little seedlings here as well. I think that's calendula, and then this is mustard leaf again. So I'm hoping that I can actually grow that successfully this year. In the greenhouse we have aubergines. Let me show you my aubergines nicely. I need to step up. So we have aubergines which are doing absolutely fantastic, and then up above are a whole lot of tomatoes. Some died but others survived, and I think next week I'm putting them all out. I'm done next week at the weekend, so that will be the 11th, the 10th or the 11th they're going out, because I'm done with this. But because I refreshed my beds ready for them, I can see that the garlic that's growing in there is growing very, very happily because of what I did to the space in terms of refreshing it with compost and different fertilizers in preparation for the tomatoes, because obviously we're going to have our tomatoes all along here. And in a way it's a good thing that some of them died, because I don't know whether or not I would have had space for all of them, because all my tomatoes have to stay at home in my Actually, I use my northeast facing garden as well because it works. So I think that's all right. Over here, we have a Swiss chard, which is about to flower and will provide me with a fantastic source of leaves for my compost bins. And my Happy Valentine dahlia from last year's come back. I didn't think it was going to come back. My roses have all come back except one. So this is a pink rose that has come back. I've got some gladioli coming up in the back, and they're doing fine as well. I need to remove the leaves so that they can access the, not gladiolas, but the other plant I got. I need to clear some of the bottom leaves. My plan is to get some topsoil for the back area there. I was going to leave it and not do anything with it, and then I thought, actually, if I sort it out, I can put a tomato plant in there, or I can put something in there anyway. My blueberries are starting to fruit. I don't think I'm going to get as good a produce this year as I did last year, simply because of the fact that I didn't prep the pot properly. But at the end of this season, I will put it into the ground in the area it's in currently, in order that it can actually find its own food. And I'll just put a lot of coffee grounds in that area. Interestingly enough, in this acidic bed, my giant mustard leaf is doing absolutely fantastic. And something else I failed to grow last year but seems to be doing really, really well here, self-seeded, are my Chinese kale. If you've never tried Chinese kale, you need to. It is absolutely fantastically delicious, and I love it to bits. This rose here, which had no label, is starting to come back up, but this orange one has failed to come back and looks like it's dying. So I'm going to go back to Amazon, which is where I got all these roses from, because I've got another one here as well, which is doing fine. And I'm going to request a replacement of that one. So I've taken a picture of it in order that I can actually feed this back. But I think I'll actually get some of this and eat it one of these days because I've got so much of it. I love Chinese kale. Last but not least, in fact, because I've got something on the table which I'll show you in a minute, is my favorite, my very, very favorite view at the moment. And today it's not even as good as it was a few days ago before it got windy. Are my broad beans. I bought these broad beans from Germany when we went to visit my daughter, and before I put them, actually whilst they were in the bed, I refreshed my Greenstalk, and then I actually put them in, and they are doing absolutely fantastic. I came back the other day from work to find them totally and completely looking their best, gorgeous in the extreme, and I was so excited. I was amazed at how much growth they've actually put on. They're extremely tall. I'm surprised by how tall they are, because these are not dwarf anyway, but I didn't expect them to be this big. But there were bumblebees all over them as well. And then here, in addition to my broad beans, are some garlics. The garlics are doing okay, not fantastic, but then I put them in late. So a lot of these are very late, and therefore they will be harvested late. The ones that were put in earlier are thicker in stem, but the ones that were put in later are not as great. But yeah, the sun has just come out to show off to me about this lovely, lovely planter. And in here, I've also got some giant spinach, and that's doing fine. In the bottom, I've got some shallots, and it looks like there's a giant spinach or something in there growing together with the shallots, and they're also doing fantastic. So I'm trying to make sure that I am watering this every day, where before I wasn't. And interestingly enough, even if I'm watering it every day, I think the broad beans are drinking so much that they're taking up everything. Something else I've also noticed is last year I had some tomatoes in here, little tumbling tomatoes, and they self-seeded and are coming back. So that is fantastic news. There's another one in here, just behind the broad bean, in with the garlic, which is actually coming up by itself. So that is good. And so I am actually quite happy to see that. That's a good result. Oh, and I see there's another one just in here coming out as well. So that's pretty pleasing. And so I won't have to add tomatoes to this planter because the tomatoes have decided to bring themselves back without my help. Okay, one more thing. I say one more thing and then I see something else. So in here we have my beetroot, which I forgot about because I had too many plants and I didn't keep an eye out. So all these had germinated, but then they died because Stella forgot to water them. But I got it out yesterday and I've watered them. So half of these will go to my allotment and the other half I'll take to my sisters. They really do need potting up again because this soil is not as great as my other soils, so I will have to get that done when the sun shines, which it isn't at the moment. My lovely little water feature is fantastic. I'm loving it so much, and I'm trying to find a bigger bowl than this. This is just a plant saucer, and this is the largest I could find. My idea would be if it was a little bit higher on the sides, so it could hold a little bit more water. And my bog plants are doing beautiful in there, and they seem to be thriving. This has finished flowering, and I'm now wondering whether or not I'll get any seeds that I can then plant up, because I've got this little pot here. So if I can, I'll see whether or not I can seed them in here and get another of those plants, because I'm hoping to have something similar at the allotment. In here, I've got corn here, and then I've got sweet corn that I planted just the other day on there. I finally got myself a little label thing, because all the pens I've tried do not work. When you actually use them, they work fine until you put the plants outside and it gets a bit of rain or sun, and that's it, they disappear. So I'm not happy with that, and therefore I am going to work with a little printer from Timo, and it wasn't that expensive, so that's okay. My plans for here in terms of planting, I think these my quad grows, which I've had for years, will have, what will they have? I think they can have the peppers in there. I have not refreshed those 4 there, but these 4 are refreshed and ready. Anything that you see straw on has actually been refreshed and is ready for the planting season. So I'm really happy that I got as much done. I still need to decide what I'm doing with that planter there. The simple reason being I have nowhere for it to go. But because my sister and I have decided that we may want to do a single seed potato challenge, myself, I'm doing it in preparation for signing up for Steve Digwell's next year's competition. I'm thinking that maybe I can actually use it as a planter for the potatoes, for some of the potatoes. In here, I have celery that has been going for years. How long is celery supposed to grow for before it stops? I have no clue. And this looks like a garlic I never harvested. So it's come out and produced a lot more garlic. So I'll let it grow, and then when it's ready, I'll pull it. We have some garlic in here, which doesn't get much light. And then I got some poached eggplants, because I love poached eggplants. So I direct sowed them in here. They don't get much light, but they seem to be doing fine. I decided to put one of the the sunflowers, the red sunflowers, in here. And it seems to be surviving whatever is trying to eat it. And it looks like there's a little tomato in there as well. But this is going to be a flower pot, which I put here to block this space so that the cat that was coming in here cannot have direct access to there to think that you can make that a toilet, because it kept doing that all the time. Okay. On this side, these planters are supposed to be going down to the allotment at some point, because the aim is to clear this space and have it empty. Oh my gosh, I got a potato in there. So I think this year I have to empty that and pull out that potato. I don't know how a potato ended up in there. This is rosemary, which my husband uses when he's cooking, and I've got a bit of garlic in there as well. And I can smell it. And this is supposed to be for my sweet peas this year. So what I need to do is this was filled with bokashi compost, and I need to put my sweet peas in there. I bought a better arch thing for my sweet peas than this, because this is not very attractive. So I bought one that is more picturesque. And these pots have no use at the moment, and therefore they may be used for my single seed potatoes challenge with my sister. So, oh yes, and then last but not least, I have this planter, which I actually set up as a self-watering planter by putting it onto a reservoir. I got it from Lidl, but then what I did is I drilled holes through the middle of it and passed some wicking material through all the layers and passed them into the different sections of the planter in order that we can actually have, this is a sycamore, another of those seeds that are coming up all over. I think they are self-seeding. Anyway, sidetracked much. Anyway, yeah, so I made it self-watering in order to see whether or not my herbs will do better, and it definitely seems to be working. What I need to do is I'll need to cut all of this back. I'll need to refresh the compost and feed it, because I also put some, I don't know if these are Faster onions or if they're Welsh onions, one of the two in there. And I've got mint, I think this is thyme. I've got sage, which seems to be doing fine, and there's more onion in here as well. So yeah, I put the bottom tier for mint because I know that mint spreads all over, so I gave it the bottom tier so that it doesn't try and leak through. And it works absolutely fantastic, but it needs a better location than where it currently is. So this is one of the things that needs sorting out. All this corner needs sorting out. All these pots need to go in order that this space, other than my compost bins, which I have no choice about because I love them, and will probably do a harvest sometime in the summer because these have been going for quite a while without harvesting, including that one, which should probably have fantastic soil in there. So these pots will need to go to the allotment once everything in the allotment is sorted. But yeah, that's my garden as it stands, and I hope all your gardens are doing fine. I need to cut the grass and then I can take it to the allotment for mulch. This was hearting up when I last looked at it, which is why I'm not too worried about it. But I definitely did not want any cabbage whites on it. But I think I need to create a bigger space for it to grow in. That's something for another day. All right. Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. I'm going in to relax, have myself a glass of wine, and take it easy because although tomorrow is a bank holiday, Stella is working. Okay, have a good one.